I want to break down the recent threat of a rail strike. And I would also tell you that the news covered it, right? And then it was like, well, they came to an agreement, but that agreement has not been ratified. A little old word that's kind of fancy, and you haven't heard it since the 5th grade in your civics class about ratifying the Constitution. But in other words, there's been an agreement, but it still has to go through a voting process. So the powers that be that were negotiating on the railroad company side, and then the union representatives, they came to an agreement. And they kind of walk out of the room and go, okay, this is what we think is the agreement, but we got to take it to our members, and they got to vote it up or down. And so there is still a threat of a strike. There's no question about this. Why? Members of the International Association of Machinists and Aerospace Workers, District 19, already rejected the agreement. They did, though, agree to postpone the strike until September 29. So basically they're going, we don't agree with this, but we're not going to strike. We'll push that to September 29th, give you more time to get back in the room and cut a deal. So there's more local union districts that are going to need to vote on this. So still a lot of work left to be done. This could come back around. Here's why I'm covering this, okay? There's a big takeaway that I'm going to give you leaders. I know I have people here that are leaders. You're managers. Maybe you're not the ultimate say, but there's something really vitally important and simple that you need to understand that is so simple. And you can meet this need. You can do this, leaders, and not see an organization get into this kind of crap. Even with unions, as difficult and as sticky as unions are, because it's always us versus them. None of this had to happen. I'm not going to get into all the details, but there's a big wage increase that include payouts and bonuses that are kind of retroactive. But at the heart of this, according to everything I've read and seen, okay, at the heart of all of this is really not money. It's about sick leave. Now, salaries are getting bumped significantly. There's an additional paid leave day a year. So we're talking 1 day a year. Okay. And then this was to me, honestly stunning that the railroads agreed in this latest negotiation to let their workers take unpaid time off for doctor's appointments or medical procedures without being penalized under their attendance rules. Yeah. I read this and folks, I try to readily admit that I'm not the smartest person in any room I go to. This makes my head hurt. I want to make sure you catch it. Plain spoken. I'm going to read it to you. Railroads also agreed to let workers take unpaid time off for doctor's appointments or medical procedures without being penalized under their current rules. What are we doing? I don't understand how we get here. Well, I do, and I'm going to explain it in just a second. But I don't understand this. I mean, just to give you an idea, 95%, so it's between 95 and 96% of employers in the United States offer at least some paid sick days to their employees. Many outsiders, including me, to the industry were shocked to learn that railroad employees, excuse me, did not have this benefit in their contracts. There goes the pesky voice. Now, there's two people to blame here. Okay, certainly the union should have had this in previous negotiations. The union's sole job is to look out for their members. I don't know how they missed this, but as much as I'd love to poo-poo and blame the union members for being doofuses, how is it that we would even have to negotiate for this? If you railroad executives, I would love to, Alex, line them up and walk them into the studio here and have them sit down like this is a court of law and go, hey, can I ask you a couple of quick questions? Okay, great. Yeah. Why is it that you have a problem paying for people's time to go to the doctor or get a medical procedure when almost 96% of American corporations allow this? What was going on? as I said, about 96% of American employers offer some sort of paid sick leave. The number of days does range from 1 day a year to unlimited. But there are industries where still, this is according to Johnny Taylor, the SHRM president, Society of Human Resource Management, said there are still industries where workers have no days designated as sick leave. And I don't understand that. It's like there's a human chip missing with leaders here. Am I right, Alex, or am I overly... I just want to make sure. Am I being unreasonable here? Like, how is it that I don't care what industry that you go, if somebody's really sick, and I don't mean someone who's making up stuff, that'll be readily made available over time. Somebody's lying to you. But I mean, somebody's really sick, and you're not going to let them go to the doctor or give them some paid sick leave. Only 14 states in the United States have laws guaranteeing paid sick leave, and those laws often exclude workers in some industries, including government employees as well as railroad and airline employees. Workers who don't get any sick days tend to be low-wage workers and these working part-time. This is according to Eileen Applebaum, co-director of the think tank Center for Economic and Policy Research, and this pisses me off. There is no reason in the world, leaders of large corporations that employ lower wage workers, hourly workers, or part-time workers, that you can't give those people the dignity of taking care of themselves when they need to take care of themselves. No wonder you have high turnover. SHRM said SHRM, Society of Human Resource Management, said there's a trend toward giving employees a bank of paid days that can be used for any purpose, sick day, vacation day, or personal day. Again, all that's great. But here's what I wrote down. And this is what I want to talk about. When this type of situation is happening, it is leadership that is focused on policy, not people. I just, there it is. You want to know how asinine, stupid policies like this happen and end up taking on, a union negotiation over this? It's when a corporation goes, well, what's our policy on this? Now, some of you are going, Ken, you're being a little bit extreme. No, I'm not. I'm not saying that you shouldn't have policies, but policies ought to be focused on principles. If you have principle-based policies that are focused on people at the other end of your policy, then you will have good policy. So I'm not anti-policy. What I'm saying is when there's a focus on policy absent of people and thus a principle, then you have this kind of leadership activity and a lack of common sense. Here's my point. Somebody asked me the other day, Ken, what do you think about paternity leave for guys when their wife has a baby? Look, I don't think we need a policy there. This is my whole point. Why do we need a policy? How about we just allow leaders to make good people decisions? Hey, your wife is really struggling, had a C-section, can't get up and down your third floor apartment. You do what you need to do to take care of her until she gets to a point. That's people and principle based, not policy based.